I might need your eyes on that.
Mac, so God knows where.
Ah, all right. So I'm going to. So the Zoom has started.
You started it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I am going to go in here into present.
Well, let's go back once. Go back to your like camera and stuff. Okay, so go down to the. See if I can find it in the Mac. Go to the settings. In there, it's in a weird spot. No, let me find it.
I mean, normally when someone unmutes themselves, we don't
Yeah,
have issues, right?
Yeah, but you're sharing
He's not doing a screen share.
at all.
Mm-mm. Well, actually, I haven't confirmed that with him. That's my assumption. Let me text him really quick to ask.
Is this in Spanish?
What's up?
That I don't know what this word means yet?
That's Peter.
That's grande.
He's trying. I believe that's what you named my sleep yesterday. Or sounds sharing button.
Do you have to click on a person? Like, are you in the Zoom yet?
No,
Why
but
don't you join the Zoom? Let me see if it's person specific. Gina V,
Hi.
what's up?
How are you?
Fantastic.
Sorry, I gotta find her link.
Oh, want me to email it to you?
Yeah,
Just
that was,
Well, if you can't find it, I'm going to assume that others might not be able to, so I'm gonna do a. Okay. All right, so if I go to you. No, it's only, nothing sounds specific to that.
yeah, I know. Then it's a small town, but yeah.
I think so long as the speaker is same as system. Which actually right now it's not, because I need to get the TV on.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
I'm sorry. That's maybe the emotion will be breaking down.
That's awesome. Oh, are you? Okay.
Mental shift.
Okay. Yeah, well, you're probably very people oriented, so this is a great opportunity. I've like even like witnessed this, it's not all that. Through, you know.
This thing on?
Oh, I forgot.
I find like there's just, just I'm interfacing, interacting with people that don't know how to do it.
Hi.
I blocked my stuff yesterday, so no one could see me, so I didn't put any makeup on. Yeah.
I see.
And then I just put my Vegas picture up and just blocked it, so you could see the background, but it was really, I think it was on. I was lazy, I feel like doing.
All right, so I'm in here. Zoom, share screen from desktop.
See it, see it.
Oh, share sound.
I knew it was in a weird spot.
Interesting. Okay,
Okay, now you're good. Yeah.
good finding. Wait, it's like, wait, what happened?
I knew it was a weird spot on my. You know, And then do multiple, you know, if he doesn't share, you can have it prep for it.
Okay,
Under the multiple, like wherever that chat bar is,
You know, I was.
like make multiple participants under screen share,
oh, okay, wait,
then drop that arrow up. Then multiple.
Beth, what did you?
I always turn it on in case someone I do a one-on-one, if someone wants to share, they're not.
yeah,
I don't have to go see it.
that's cool, that's cool. Okay, he does not need to share his screen. Perfect.
Do you want me to look it up?
I was lied to if you're right.
I was gonna say 2 seeds.
That's what I
What
spelled.
question? Broccoli?
Or maybe it is, I use, you're right, it's 2 seeds one.
BRO.
I was like, I'm not gonna question you.
I- Is that right?
CCO.
Yeah.
CCO,
O,
LI,
O, L, I.
broccoli,
Broccoli.
yeah, broccoli.
We need some.
I had somebody had to spell zucchini for me
Oh,
earlier.
that's hard to know.
Yeah.
Zucchini.
Yes.
Oh, nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Good. I tried to suit my way.
Yes.
Donate this.
Nice.
Is Sam here?
Then what is this? Gatorade?
So I told him to stay at home that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he says, is it evil or is it evil?
Yeah.
Oh.
So then he read it for me to go ahead and ask it for the-
Okay, he was.
Right, that's right. There you go.
You're chilly.
What's the difference? It's like a.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you do that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what everyone said. Agitated me.
Yeah, I can see why they would
Cause
say
he,
that.
they brought that up because when they're up in the suits,
Like that.
the suits on the back. it's killed.
Good
They wasn't carrying anything.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Red and green from the phenotype.
Yeah, I look at it now, I feel about that. What's that?
Well, I sure do.
Well, we're gonna.
What's
Yeah.
Anything for that?
There's a lot. You might have some like their.
I don't like anything.
Like, I'm
Probably could have worn a short sleeve or something, but.
That's really.
It's a bad state you're at. Butter and herbs, that should be like seasoning, something.
No, they want or anything.
Not doing it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Alright.
I probably said my. Whatever. I was like, oh, by the time, like, like 1 o'clock. And then recess is either, so like, by the time you have recess, by the time telling us second recess, like, it's gonna be nice, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys.
Oh, that sounds great. I'll go to you tomorrow.
I it's really like water.
No, that's totally right.
I don't know, yes.
Yeah, we can talk more tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, okay.
I like it.
I wonder.
But we don't.
Oh,
We kind of.
I have somebody.
But I already got it. Oh, that's fine. And then dining room, living room, kitchen, and laundry. And then the base, they finish the base. It doesn't have to be rest window.
It's not gone. Hey.
Okay, we have two cards. One for that.
They are like.
It's just dark, and that's where she wants to be, so. No, but. It's so right though. Oh, it is?
She was like,
Yeah, that's someone. Oh, no. That's so mad.
I think that's what they're like, really good friends. I helped them buy a house.
Yeah. And then how do
I'll start them off here.
Yeah.
Don't let me forget.
Yeah. The one who's.
Okay. Yeah, so you text me all of that, so I can forward it to her.
You shared.
It might be fun, it might motivate them to like.
Take it away.
Yeah.
What's that? The less that's in my hands. I have one, but my adapter doesn't like my power cord doesn't like the adapter. But I do have a clicker.
Okay, that's important.
I don't think anything. Yeah, the tops, yeah. Come on, come on. Ooh.
Yeah, I do. I do. And it's like I said, that's a bit stronger. Yeah, it's stronger. But like women sense. Yeah.
No, we're gonna be back behind the corner.
All right, folks, let's get it started. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our March team meeting. He's alive. Well, I didn't think we could have any more energy than we did on Friday night, but you guys are keeping it riding high. Who was at the awards night on Friday? Had a good time. Amanda's back there, but we can give it up to her again for everything that she did for that. It's a great day. I've decided to keep the stash for at least a couple of days. The responses are either like really or like nice. I'm just trying to hang with Eric Henry just for a minute. So stash 1 and stash 2. People are like, was it a stick on? I'm like, no, I've always had it. It was just shrouded in a beard. It's always been here. So I'm just featuring it for a minute. All right, we got a lot of ground to cover today. So we'll get moving with gratitude. What are we grateful for? What can we celebrate? What can we share? Miss Mercedes.
All of our sponsors and our, I don't know what they're called, I'm sorry.
Partners.
Partners.
Yeah.
All our partners for the awards night and everyone that worked, Amanda, oh my God, thank you. It was awesome. But also the partners for in Vegas, they sponsored a dinner and that was really nice.
Yeah. Yep. Here. We are surrounded by fantastic partners. Scott.
Melissa Sandberg, she's been really helpful with us in making some decisions for our team and things like that. She's reached out and she's also just trying to help people collaborate and do some good decisions. So I really appreciate her.
That's awesome. She's a good one. Who else? Jess. It's a good get. Good get for the CA Lamb team. I think Christian's here. I saw him earlier. He's coming. Nice. Who else? Well, as a segue, I'm grateful that we are agents that care about others in the community. And so I want to tee up Holly Van Riper. She's got something that she wants to share that will enable us to show how awesome we are.
Okay, I don't know a lot of you faces, but if any of you know Rhonda Anger, she's been a lender with she was the first merit forever and first common law. She was diagnosed with, I believe, stage 4 brain cancer. 4 months back. It was kind of, I mean, pretty private, but she's not working anymore. And Christine Shell and Steve Ferrucci, Remax, they're putting together, making a big.
It's in the front. There's 3 or 4 seats right here. One right here.
Send a card. He did the team at Stonegate. She's collecting them by tomorrow if you want to send one individually. But I stopped and just got one for everybody to sign. We're going to pass around that we can send from our office for her. And then I got a second card. There's an agent with Remax on Debbie's team, Angie Oni. She's only been in business about a year or 2. They were also previous clients in my investments I worked with for years. Known for her husband Larry, who's kindergarten, he went to Huber. And, he was just diagnosed, actually, because my brother-in-law worked with them at Royalty European. He's having problems with his ankle for a couple years, and then you should go there, check for blood clots, and they found out he has stage 4 pancreatic.
Pancreatic, yeah.
He's 49, and then found out some lungs and liver, and they have one at Johnson, and one out of college. So, that just happened like in the last 2 weeks, so. So if every this time.
Thank you.
For Larry and your family and all the members of cause and for staggering, he's not really like a candidate for any of the conventional things. So we're trying to do things.
You said his name was Larry.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought David. So I wrote David on the card and we're gonna change that. Killing it over here. On the envelope. We'll change that out. All right, so Holly brought us cards. Whether you know them or not, I don't think it matters. I think when you're suffering, to feel that others care and are in prayer matters. So I'm gonna start Rhonda's here, and I'm gonna start not David, but Larry's. Larry David, maybe? Going that way, you can sign your name and circulate it throughout. Keep the pen going with it, because I'm guessing some of you don't have pens today. Okay, we'll adjust that on the envelope. It's a fairly standard sized card. Oh my gosh. Raise your hand if there's an open seat next to you. All right. Okay, you guys are all perched. Cassandra's gonna be quick today, so okay. All right. All right, okay. Thank you, Holly. All right, we have fresh faces to welcome. I'm going to minimize this. I want to welcome Al Reynolds. She is partnering up with Julie Smith Geyser. Recently got licensed. Tiffany Adams has joined the Melissa Sanford team in Worcester. Paige Heron, am I pronouncing that correct, Preston? Heron, just got licensed here in Canton in the PC program. Rachel Turner is joining the Tracy Jones team in Ashland. Dalit Boulard joins us in the Mansfield office. Trey Stolte joins us with JMA. Joel Myers in the house. Joel, where are you? There he is. Came over from Shervenick because we're more closely located to him in the Worcester area, Apple Creek specifically. And then welcoming the Ross Real Estate Group, Storm Ross, Elizabeth Ross, Jeff Fry, Michael Lanzer, Tyler Celse, and Madison Wilbur. So great month of fantastic people joining us. Let's welcome them to our team. All right, Cassandra, it is your time to shine. She always shines. The ineffable Cassandra Stevens.
All right, so February's profit share total was $18,459.39.
All right, we'll take it.
This year to date, 39,515. And our February cappers are Samantha Hopper, Scott and Lynette Hilly, and Zuri Stevens.
Let's give it up. All right. Front row, capper, just crushing it right now. Starting a softball team. It's happening right now. Slugfest. So I love the comment. Someone asked if it was slow pitch, and Zarice commented, I hope so. So if you signed up for that team, like, be prepared for whatever is about to transpire. Top producers.
Top producers, this is impressive. For February, fantastic job. Grateful for all of you.
And I'm not going to read all of your names.
I know, you can't not.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Cassandra, any updates from the operator's desk, things that we need to talk about? Billing, etc.
Pretty much good.
Okay.
If you saw a bunch of random $0 deposits into your account, I'm so sorry. They didn't tell me they were going to attempt to deposit $0
Oh.
if I didn't pay none. So it's one of those.
You've been notified. You're about to get $0. Hey, thanks.
Thanks for the reminder.
Feels good to be thought of today.
Dad, sorry.
That is a-okay. Well, thank you, Cassandra. Cassandra's gotta scoot to receive a mattress right now, if I'm not mistaken. Rich, this is your wah cue to come on up. Just exception. What's up, man?
Buddy.
Good to see you. Oh, there you go.
I don't have a lot of.
I thought that one was.
I kept the mustache, but Rich decided to cut the hair.
Shiny, evidently.
Um,
I mean,
that
the
was-
forehead was shiny, the hair was shiny, I can't get away from it.
That was,
So I gotta distance myself up here from Zarice, though. I think he's still a little bit upset that he didn't win best dress.
what we need, I think next year we're gonna bring like a decibel counter,
Yeah.
just to like objectify it.
As I was walking out, I had to look out because he was ready to jump me.
Pain you?
You'll make it up. All right, TCPA compliant, again, those dialers, sorry, we have to have this every single month as a reminder, just to let you guys know that you should be double checking the do not call list. You can go to, I think it's donotcall.org and check all the numbers you want.
Question, do we have to register as a telemarketer?
I don't think you have to register as a telemarketer, but you have to create an account, yes. If you're doing a telemarketer, it would probably be the dialer, the auto dialer system that you guys might be using, perhaps.
But they don't really give you an option to like, just search.
If they don't give you an option, I know you have to set up an account, but if you have to register as a telemarketer, there you are.
There you are.
I know you have to create an account, so
Might be spam.
if you want to be a telemarketer, you can do that too. All right, let's see. Okay, so thank you, Holly, for saying something about Rhonda. We already have that up there, so we've got that out of the way. I don't know how many of you guys actually read your Realtor magazine articles that come in the email, so this past week, though, it was quite an interesting. They did a survey for 6,500 people that recently bought homes throughout the United States, and 60% of them said that realtors, lenders, and title companies do a terrible job of alerting me about scams or anything I need to know when it comes to during the sale or after the sale. So many of your email signatures do have in there, that fraud is on the rise, wire transfer, things like that. But I would encourage you, if you don't have that in there, probably put that somewhere in your email signature, or at least a disclosure of some kind, letting your clients know, even if it's verbal. So basically, they were saying that between deeds getting or title being transferred out of your name and then stolen by somebody, scams of somehow, I didn't realize we were still doing this, but charging like $100 to get a copy of your deed out there, that people are still doing. So if you know of a scam, if you know of something, the consumer wants to know about it. It's not the greatest news to tell them that they could get scammed, but they would probably rather know beforehand rather than after.
Yeah.
So I would say, read some of those articles. They're pretty good. And the lenders and title companies the same. If you guys know of something that's going on, alert your clients to it at the beginning of a conversation and transaction, rather than getting into it, because scammers are getting really, really good at copying your email address or all of your information, and it looks like it came through. So
Scary.
be on the lookout, yeah. And then representing yourself in a transaction, just remember, you can never be a dual agent when you represent yourself. And of course, you can't take off your licensee hat, so you are always representing yourself. But when you go to buy a property, you can purchase it without the seller having an agent, but you have to check all the way at the bottom of the box that says the seller has no representation. The seller has to be good with that, by the way. So I've gotten quite a few calls from people that say, well, it's kind of odd. Your realtor said that I don't have any representation. They're buying a house, but it's their profession and I have no representation. So could you assign somebody to represent me? And the answer is yes. So I would say, make sure that when you're buying something, you at least offer that. You can always refer it to another agent in a brokerage, pay a referral fee, whatever it would be. But remember, this is your profession. So it's kind of interesting that those of you that want to sell your home, not list it in the MLS, or not be professional as a realtor, or have somebody licensed representing the other party. So just a reminder, earnest money and refunds, I'll tell you that is on the rise, between people not depositing earnest money and then wanting it back for no good reason. What I will say is, I just recently had a conversation with an attorney. We are doing a terrible job, and I say we as this organization, whether it's realtors or not, licensees period, crossing things out on a purchase agreement and making it not flow in the manner in which it was intended. So I will give you an example. Recently we had a contract where the agents crossed out the earnest money of how it would be returned if the inspection didn't go well. And they also then, somebody wrote in on an additional comments that the money was non-refundable. But in the financing, they can get it back. It's non-refundable here, and in the inspections, they can't get it back. And by the way, the deal fell apart not due to financing, and so this person's $500 has been sitting for almost 4 years in an account that we cannot do anything with, and it's gonna cost that client more money to go hire an attorney to get their $500 back. So just know when you're crossing things out on that purchase agreement, you should really understand what you're crossing out and explain to the consumer what you're crossing out and why you're doing it. Because if it's not your decision, if it's not their decision, you shouldn't be making it for them. Make sure whatever you do with the earnest money, if it's truly non-refundable, it gets written to the seller. It doesn't get held in title. Any questions about that?
I have one, but.
So we'll talk later.
Offline.
Yes, you all heard that? If I come out bruised.
Lots of private conversation.
Yeah.
Reads the reason, really.
Just going back quickly to the representing yourself, do we still have that personal property form?
We do.
We do have a personal property form. I believe it's $500 is your flat fee. If you are not capped, I think it's $250 if you are capped. And there, it is in Dotloop. You need to fill it out because what we're finding is a lot of agents are going, oh, well, let's see, this is a friend of a friend of a friend. I'm going to use this as a personal transaction. But if you don't actually have ownership in the LLC or ownership in the property, you don't get to use that exemption.
Yeah, it's called the personal property acknowledgement form is what it's called in Dotloop.
Yeah. And be thankful, because I will tell you, we negotiated our E&O insurance again this year, which we were able to get a better rate on. Thank you to all of you who are not getting yourselves in trouble. But one of the things we had to negotiate out was that on all of your transactions, personal transactions, you either have to offer a home warranty or you are required to have a home inspection if you're the seller. So we didn't have to do those, but it's probably coming in the next few years because that's just another way to protect ourselves.
So we don't have to do that,
We don't
right?
have to do that right now, but there are companies that require it.
You don't have to do it, and they're suggesting that for a reason, because it gives you a layer of protection
Oh, it
as the
does.
seller.
It does. I mean, I would love to see as a suggestion that if you are the seller of a property, you require the buyer to have a home inspection, or you at least offer a home warranty. It's gonna protect you in the long run. It's great protection, but we also didn't want to add that extra layer for those people that, are here doing investments and things like that. But definitely a good idea.
Hearty encouragement.
Yes. And inspections, I think we kind of went over that, but crossing things out on the purchase agreement, I've seen where agents keep crossing out like section 2 or 3, which you have one of 3 options after the inspection, which is accept it, but have repairs done or get out of it altogether. And people are crossing out one of those, 3 of those, whatever the case is. And then the buyer goes, well, I don't really want the house. Well, you're not getting out of it now.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that you're not crossing out the wrong things when you're talking to your consumer. And I would encourage you not to cross out any of them because you just never know. I can't tell you how many times a buyer says, oh yeah, I'm just doing the inspection for my own personal knowledge. Great, then do it after closing. There's no reason for you to even do it and cross it out and write that on the contract. So
That's good.
Amen.
all right, that's it.
You know, it's good when you can name that out of Jose. That was like charismatic over there.
Is saying amen.
Movement of the spirit. All right. Speaking of Jose, I think we're gonna have you. Oh, no, just kidding. False start. Andrea, half of our Stonegate duo, is here today. Sam is in Virginia, right?
She is in Virginia. Sadly, she had a family death, so you're stuck with me, I'm sorry. So what we're gonna do today is just go over our website real fast. How many of you guys have been on our website? Oh, a little bit more than I thought. Great. So I know we've got some new agents to the company. So on our website, I think there was like a link.
There is a link. Oh, you want me to click it?
Yes, please.
Uh-oh.
And that's it up. All right, so on the front page of our website, there is a button where you can click, oh, right there, submit earnest money. So when you're working with a buyer and you say, hey, and now it's time to submit your earnest money, they can go directly to our website. It's going to take them to a portal called Earnest. And it is spelled incorrectly, but it's trademarked, so I can't change it. So
Two N's.
sorry for all of those of you who are spelling gurus and it drives you crazy too. Not that saying that I'm a spelling guru, but it does drive me nuts.
See you at next year's B.
Yes, so you're gonna hit submit earnest money, it's gonna take them to a portal. if they're not comfortable with online deposit, we all know that some people are good with online banking, some people not. The right paintbrush for the wall, right? They can still mail a check in, they can come and deliver it to your office, our office, we will find a way to get it here if they're not comfortable with this, okay? But online submitting for earnest money. The other thing that I wanted to share with you guys is up here, can you click on resources? If you click on resources, there are a couple of different things. Under point of sale, if you are working in an area that has a lot of point of sale, for example, Cuyahoga County, anybody work in Cuyahoga County, do anything in Cuyahoga? Yes, a couple of you. So we have gathered a list of all the POS.
Nice.
Things, we have links in here. If there's a link, like if you click on Stark County, real quick, Mark.
Okay.
All right, so yes, point of sale required, cost range from 120 to 200 for Stark County, but it's going to break it up, like for example, Cuyahoga, they have like every single little municipality has like a different POS. So if you are looking and you want to know what is in there, I see eyeballs.
What's the Stark County point of sale that's required?
Septic.
Oh, just the septic, okay, got it.
It doesn't specify.
Yeah.
It doesn't specify that, right?
Correct. So that would then route you to go check out what they
Yes.
require.
Yes, so we could probably get that a little skinnier for you guys so that you don't freak out like, oh, is there a different one? We will add just well and septic as a little caveat to Stark County. But the point is, we want you guys to have a resource that you can go to say, hey, there is something required for this specific county or municipality for point of sale. And I think
That's cool. That's a great,
Yes.
great ad.
the other thing, just real fast, if you go, can you go back to resources?
Buyer seller?
Yeah, buyer seller. And then if you can scroll up or down. Keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. This one. All right, so the contract to close flow sheet, I know some of you guys have used this. Some of you guys, can you click on download here and just open that up for us? I want you guys to know you can download this and share this with your clients. It just shows the process from beginning to end of what happens once the title company actually gets the contract. And there's a little space down here in the bottom left. If you send me or Sam your logo, we will stick your logo right here so we can dual brand it with you guys.
Cool.
And you can share this with the world. So great little resource. Tell your clients, hey, stick this on your refrigerator. There's a lot that happens at the beginning, a lot that happens at the end, and all the steps in the middle. So
Super helpful.
that's all I got.
All
Yeah.
kinds of resources.
Are you guys charging to submit the earnest money?
No, we do not charge. They have to go through our portal
Right.
to not get charged. And I know some other people have the Earnest app. And if they go through a different way besides our website, then they will get charged. I believe it's like 15 or 20 bucks. Okay, thanks, guys.
Nice. Thanks, Andrea. In the 70s glam, it worked on Friday. I'm talking to you, Andrea.
I'm sorry.
Let's just talk about the 70s glam. Kudos on the outfit. Yeah, it worked. All right. We are going to spend some time recapping some of the high points of family reunion. So raise your hand if you went to family reunion a couple weeks ago. Good percentage of our group, which is fantastic. It is a fire hydrant of an experience. I think there were 186 breakout sessions, hours of general session. And we're going to do all of it. So get comfortable. No, we're just going to hit a few of the highlights. I'm going to invite Jose up, and we're basically going to talk through real high points of some of Gary's vision speech. As a PSA, this is a preamble. We'll be doing a more full kind of quarterly market update in several weeks that will go deeper on some of the things that we touch on today. And then we'll kind of talk about the so what of it all. So the vision speech.
So if you were there, this was a 2.5-hour presentation with 86 slides in it. So we're
Yeah.
not going to do that whole thing.
Like 12 of them.
Yeah, we're going to do a couple high points in 10 minutes and a
Yep.
lot of questions too.
You take these first few, Jose.
Okay, so this is kind of a confusing graph, but it looks through all of the sales by year since 1989. So you can see last year we ended at about 4.1 million in sales, which was a lot less than the last, 10, 15 years, right? If you actually look, it's very similar to 08, which how many of us were licensed in 2008, and we all survived that. So we had one of the lowest years as far as the amount of transactions available. It says for 2024, what do we expect for this coming year? They said 4.3, and Gary more or less called BS on that. Because he's like, I don't see how that number is gonna happen. He thinks it's gonna look a lot like it was in 2023.
Yeah.
With inventory, amount of buyers, all of those things. So
Right.
expect another year that's gonna be similar to what this year was, maybe a smidge better, we'll see.
We'll get more to this, but he said, we're in winter and winter's gonna last a little longer. And if you're still here, it means you're making it through winter, which is something to draw encouragement from.
That's a confusing graph. You guys wanna look at?
This is basically showing us the fact that over time, when we say a real estate's a good investment, there have only been really 4 years when the value of homes on average has gone down in value. So when people say, is the sky gonna fall? Like these last few years have been crazy, 9.1%, and these are national numbers. This is not Stark County or Northeast Ohio specific, 9.1, 18.2% in 2021, 10%, like over the course of 3 years, that's 37% cumulative appreciation, which is insane. Like there's no other point in recent history where that's happened. 23, 24, kind of coming back down to earth. We want to be in the 2 to 4% range ideally. So this is actually healthy news for the market, but it's still, the sky has never really fallen as it relates to homes. Home prices don't go down on average over time. I wanted to put this one up. This is basically they poll a bunch of consumers, and this is a question of basically, how are you feeling about the future of the economy? This is a gauge of, are people going to come out of hiding? Are they going to invest in things? Are they going to purchase things? And consumer sentiment in January 2024 was as high as it was until since June of 2021, which was, you know, a total spree. So it's trending up. You know, 2 summers ago, it didn't get much worse than that because that's when we started to see what we did with interest rates. And so that's encouraging news. The average person you're talking with is not feeling as scared.
It's kind of interesting because like I would have guessed this number here, April 2020 would have been like way less. Like no one was feeling good about things in general, but we're actually about where we were at then, which was actually higher than what I would have
Because
guessed.
people just got the notification of stimulus money.
Right.
You know, got like $6,000 to my name, you know? Yeah, exactly. Oh, let me go back one. There we go.
So size per agent, I thought this was interesting. So think about this. I think I said at the award banquet, the average agent out there selling 7, I was off. The average agent in 2023 sold 5.3 houses. 5.3 houses. That's insane. And you look at that number, that's actually the lowest we've seen ever since they've been keeping track of it, which is insane. So it's a combination of 4.1 million in sales and then the number of agents out there as well. Just makes it super competitive, as you all know. Right?
In the last 10 years, we've added 581,000 agents to NAR, which I don't think that number is going to continue growing over the course of the next couple of years if I had to wager.
Last couple of months, you always hear about like a bunch of, you know, agents leaving the industry. Is there any indication of that actually happening?
We don't have a slide on that, but yes, that is happening. Even on local board levels, you can see we're part of, I don't know, 5 boards, 6 boards, a lot of boards, and it is beginning to happen.
I think we're at a little over 1.5 million realtors. The last number I heard was 200 to 300 getting out of the business. Like a net drop of 200 to 300,000 this year is what they're expecting, and who knows?
Yeah.
If you hit the next slide, this is the interesting part of that is while agents are selling less amount of transactions, their volume is actually pretty decently high because of the volume of what houses are selling for, if that makes sense. So yes, I'm selling less houses, but the amount of GCI I'm making, the amount of volume is actually higher than a lot of the other years out there. So we're at 2.7, the average agents with 2.7 million in volume.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Still paying the
in this
bill.
area, you have to sell more than 5 houses to get.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's always interesting being at national conventions when people are on panels and it's like, oh, my average sale price is 875,000. It's like, wow, that's cool. Proud of you. You know, little different here. So this next little section that we're going to talk through is basically NAR surveyed consumers to better understand what they value, where they find their agents, et cetera. And I want, as you look at this, to say, are things changing? Are things staying the same? Okay, buyers' expected tenure. This is, hey, when we're looking at this house, we think we'll be in this house. 45% of buyers say we're going to be in this house, I don't know, 16 or 20 years. Our kids are going to grow up here. Most people, no one thinks they're going to be there for less than a year. Very few people think they're going to be there for 2 or 3 years. So then the next slide here, 45% of people said they're going to live in their house 16 to 20 years. 11% actually do. 12% are there for 2 to 3 years. So we could do lots of back and forth, but the bottom line is that your consumers have a false sense of how they're actually going to utilize their home. Oh, we're going to live here for 20 years. Very few people live in their home for 20 years. Some do, but as you think about your databases and the people that you're nurturing, they've only been there for a few years. They may be looking to move, even though they told you they're going to live there for 7 to 10 years. Yeah, Christian.
I imagine the number is going to go up because people feel locked in their rates.
That'll be interesting to see.
And I think it was Gary who said that we should be educating people that they can rent out their houses and use that income to qualify for new mortgages, so that we can actually get people moving. And even as we see these numbers uptick.
Yeah, and we're not spending time on this, but the big kind of crisis that we're facing in our real estate economy is affordability. And it's the lockedness of, not Loch Ness, lockedness of, hey, I have a $1,200 a month payment and I'd have to get a $1,900 a month payment to have the same house if I were to buy it today.
Or downsize even.
Or downsize.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. Their income hasn't grown by that same amount.
So I thought this one was interesting because with all the technology out there, we're still averaging an buyer looking for a house for 10 weeks. Like, it's a big investment. Most of them are not going out and making a very impromptu decision. They're taking their time. And so even though I can see everything on my phone, my laptop, they're still spending time going through the process. And so what we don't know, but what was inferred in this is that 10 weeks is like from the time they start engaging with a realtor.
Right.
And think about how long they're looking online before they're actually starting to engage with a realtor. So oftentimes, probably not in this room, but people will say, oh, hi, Caitlin.
Caitlin, welcome back.
People will say, you get a lead, an internet lead, and you're like, hey, this lead isn't responding, or this lead, like I tried twice in the last week to get a hold of this person.
This is a crap lead.
It's a crap lead,
Yeah.
right? Not people in here, I'm sure. But what happens is like, it takes 10 weeks. It's a long process. The sell process is long. And unless you're nurturing it over that time, you're just throwing away money on those leads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we think, oh, things are going so fast, it's like, yes, this doesn't to me say as much about inventory or interest rates. It's more about how long it takes someone to realize that this is the house for them.
Right.
They have to see on average 7 homes, like they have to, making a major decision, you need some time. And that amount of time really hasn't changed in the last 20 some odd years, which is interesting. This is just helpful to see when we think about, oh, everything's tech today and I got to be on TikTok and I have to do all of these things. Where are people first starting their journey? Of course, they're looking online, and that's actually a lower number. What's trending up is contacting a real estate agent or looking for more information about the process. I think one thing to note here is that I just assume that the world is hanging out in real estate search portals. Like Zillow is a pastime as opposed to a search process for plenty of people. It's a hobby. So I think that probably skews it a little bit. I'm not looking, but I've been grazing for the last,
I think also
last
like
bit.
making sure your online presence and you've connected with Lynn to get your command site up and running. Like if you don't have a good search portal, if you don't have something sticky, you're just gonna miss that whole population of people out there.
Absolutely. There has to be a place
Or
where they
you're
can,
gonna be paying an aggregator to get those leads from them, where I'm like, why don't you just drive it to your own site?
yep.
Yeah.
This one, is one we should draw encouragement from. Information sources buyers use. Where are they getting the information that they trust? 88% of them say real estate agent. And again, we talk about tech and we talk about real estate agents being pushed to the periphery. Like all of the data says that what you do when you care about people and know what you're doing matters as much as it ever has. Like we're not getting pushed to the periphery as much as the narrative might be. Interestingly, we had a decline in open houses during kind of the post-COVID runoff, and those are back in
They still
full force.
You didn't have time to do an open house.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's a great point. How people found their agent. Let's just look at the first couple here. 43% were referred by a friend. You know, Marcy, I don't know if Marcy's in the room, but like 97% of Marcy's businesses because people know, like, and trust her through a friend or a previous client. So 56%. And then there's plenty of other things, and we're wise to pay attention to those things, but real estate really hasn't changed as it relates to people trusting people and working with people that
Well, I think
they have reason to trust.
You know, if you've been in the KW for more than 5 minutes, you've heard us talk about the database. And this is the reason why we talk about the database is that everyone is going to friends and family and about who you know to find their realtor. And so if you're not cultivating your database and keeping top of mind with them, you're missing that whole market.
Yep. Really quick here, buyer interviews. So buyer consult, how many agents or buyers meeting with to consider who to work with? 70% of them are meeting with one. So if you're not first, you're out. This just underscores, and we're going to look at sellers in a second, underscores the importance of actual relationship and actual contact with people. They're not going to call you if you're not in touch with them.
And I think through one of the first steps, and a lot of times people buying a house is going to open houses before they're ready to like engage really. And so getting in front of open houses is just a massive opportunity out there because you're first to build that relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah. A real impression. This is sellers. So we were just looking at buyers. So we're going to move quickly here, but I think it was 56% of buyers connected to either through a referral or a previous client. It's 65% as sellers. They trust matters more to sellers. And so if you want listings, it's all the more important to be in touch with your people. Similarly, kind of the same thing. 81%. I think a lot of us think, oh, sellers are all going to interview 3 people, blah, blah, blah. There are times where you're competing, but 81% of the time, again, if you're not first, you're out.
What's a seller looking for? Obviously reputation. I would say that's probably even more important on the seller side than the buyer side is they call off of your reputation. Honest and trustworthy, all the things that we already know.
I think I'm most struck by this. Like, let's look at the 2% here. I think some of us, our value proposition is, I'm here for you 24/7. You call me, and like the seller's saying, that's cool, but you don't need to do that. And as we're ramping into crazy busy season, where when I talk with you in midsummer, you're like, I'm losing my mind because of how busy I am. Like, remember this slide. Your sellers need you to be responsive, but they don't need you 100% of the time. And
Well,
you
also
care for yourself.
the commission part of it too, because for me, I'm like, oh, every seller just cares about what's the house gonna list for and what's the commission. Well, there are people that care about that and we have to build value, but really 5% of them are really just, that's their main focus.
Yep, absolutely. We love KW, but our sellers say, I care more about you than I care about the company that you work with. So we are the brand that stands behind you, not in front of you. Thanks, Jose. QR code is for the full slide deck. It's available on KW Connect for any of you to consume. Just a couple highlights from the keynotes that I wanted to hit as well. Move that over. Yeah, just for a second. You got to be fast. You're not first, you're last. There you go.
We didn't. we only got one.
Yep.
Can you do that?
With the
Everything with the mustache, like I need to remember that I have a mustache.
Like a person on TV selling.
Thank you. I walked into church on Sunday. I was like, two things. Remember you have a mustache. Two, just embrace it, you know, just lean in. So we had, again, I heard from a million different people, but most notably or most famously, Tony Robbins and then Mel Robbins. And I just want to highlight just a few of the high points of what they said. First of all, hearing Tony Robbins live was an experience, and we got the 3-hour version. Normally he does what, like 50-hour like immersive experience. He just had shoulder surgery 3 days before. And so I'm like, oh, is he going to be okay? And then 10 minutes in, he's going harder than I ever could. But he made a couple points. So I want you to filter both this and Mel Robbins through the lens of we're in winter, winter ain't over, and you have what it takes to win at the end of the day. So he says, life is dictated by 3 continual decisions. Number 1, what are you going to focus on? How's the weather today? How are the interest rates? Or who's in my life that I love? What work do I have to do today? What am I going to actually give my attention to? Number 2, what meaning am I going to ascribe to that? I could focus on the interest rates being suboptimal. The meaning that I ascribe to that, I could say that means I can't help buyers in this market, or that means I'm going to need to be more proactive. I'm going to need to be in touch with more people, and I'm going to have to explain the process more clearly to more people. You know, same bit of information, 2 very different sets of meaning, interpretations of that. Number 3, what actions will you take in light of number 2? And anytime somebody oversimplifies things, I'm like, okay, it's really not that simple. But the more that I thought about this point, no, you're totally right. What do I give my attention to? How do I interpret that? And then what do I do in light of that? And he said, take control of those 3 things in your life will change. He then spent time talking about seasons, seasons of history. And he went back. I would say Tony was smarter than I expected him to be. Like, I think you talked about his energy and his hype, but like he was talking widely about a lot of different things. And he was talking about, you know, emperors and the Roman Empire and all of that. But it says societies and history and economies, everything goes in cycles, but these cycles are typically what follow this flow. Number 1, good times create weak people. Weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people, and strong people create good times. Good times. Thank you. That was a reading comprehension. Thank you, Preston. Yes, strong people create good times. I don't know that we would say we feel like this is a bad time, but the numbers would show that this isn't an easy time. And so I want you to interpret it as, how do I focus on what I focus on and say, I'm going to choose to become strong through this as opposed to be a victim through it. He then spent time talking about your emotional state. It's the most important thing in the world. If you learn to shift your energy, you can learn to kind of change anything. Which again feels simplistic, but both he and then Mel Robbins, which I'll touch on in a second, where life is made up of micro moments where we decide how we respond to those things. And so much about your state, that is, I could choose to, you know, flop down and let it happen to me, or I could choose to face it head on. That's what dictates whether we succeed, find fulfillment, etc. 80% of success is psychology and mindset, which I very much agree with. Mel Robbins, who was fantastic, and I would say I enjoyed her bit even more. I don't know if others in the room would say the same thing. She said, the main thing standing between you and what you want is your willingness to act and work for it. She talked about when she was in a really hard time in her life where their finances were, you know, they were on the path to bankruptcy, their businesses were failing, her health was not in good shape, and she was laying in her bed in a like, I feel stuck. And a lot of us can kind of be in the lay in your bed mode. And so what separates those who lay and those who don't is their willingness to get up and work for it. If you sit in fear, it gets bigger. Movement, motion, action lowers fear. And anyone, you can talk with anyone about the story of Mary Cell. I won't share in the interest of time now, but she demonstrated in real time how motion and actually like physically moving and taking action reduces your level of fear. So as you think about what are the things that we're most afraid of, is it calling our database? Is it attending an open house? Is it networking, the stuff that puts us out there? If you do it, your fear is going to go down over time. And then she's famous for, how many of you have read the book 5 Second Rule? Anyone? Just a couple of you guys. It's not the drop the food and eat it rule. For me, I operate by like a 27-second rule. I'm like, I'm good. TMI. The 5 second rule is basically when in life we are faced with, I could sit in whatever I'm sitting in, or I could take action towards the thing that I know I need to take action towards my core values. Her kind of simple method is I'm going to count down from 5 and then I'm going to move towards it. So when I know I need to make phone calls, it's not like, is this a good idea or not? I know I need to, I'm just sitting in my fear. The simple process of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. And the more you do that, the more you establish the habit of getting into motion. So those are just really quick snippets that give you a taste, but our psychology matters and movement matters. And that seems simple, but I think it's true. That's going to be our segue to hear from a special guest about ways that we can get into motion right away. And Lynn, do you want to spotlight him or do you want me to? Perfect. Should I do a stop share? Just so we can see him better?
Sure.
Hey, David.
Hey, can you hear me, Mark?
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. So good. Well, you want to do an intro?
Yes. So let me introduce you all. You have been getting emails, Facebook posts. I've been getting on many of you, but Bold is coming up in 3.5 weeks, 3 weeks and change. And David is our Bold coach. How many of you have done Bold before? 21% of the room. Great. And so David is going to be coming to us starting Wednesday, April 3rd, and he's going to talk with us a little bit about what we can expect.
So, well, guys, welcome. Thank you, Mark. My name is David Jones. I'm your Bold coach coming in. We got Bold launching on Wednesday, April the 3rd. What percentage of the room did you say took Bold?
I'd say 1 in 5.
1 in 5. Oh, wow. We got a lot of people that haven't taken it before. Well, I don't have the time to go through an exact explanation of everything Bold is about. A lot of people have taken Bold in there. Just know this. Bold is a productivity program. So as a Bold coach, it's a 7-week program we launch on April the 3rd. That's first step to Bold. First thing is, everybody mark your calendars. April 3rd is free. All right. I don't know if I can hear you or not, but I want to make sure repeat that. Repeat after me. It's free. It's what?
Free.
All right. So I heard a little bit of noise. And you will benefit from taking first step to Bold, even if you choose not to do all 7 steps. And there's a chance that happens because we're going to fill up. Mark, what I love what Mark's done, and I say Mark because he did lead this off he is leading this campaign and the location. It only holds 104 people in this Bold experience. And I can promise you that as the momentum starts gathering up, this is my 3rd team meeting today. How's that? Is going to start gaining energy, and not everybody can do it. It's only for those that really want to be coached, want to make more money, want to get into immersion right now, and are okay getting uncomfortable doing it. First step to Bold is presentation style. Steps 2 through 7, we break everybody into teams, and that's when the accountability starts. For everybody who takes steps 2 through 7, $799 to take the whole program, $100 and some change per class type thing. Now, most things that we do, even in Keller Williams, I've been Keller Williams, I'm celebrating 21 years with KW. And all my years at KW as an agent, most everything we have at Keller Williams, for the most part, is a do-to process. Even your team meeting today is a do-to process. Great things. I took some notes, actually. Thank you, Mark. I enjoy those. I got on a little bit early so I can sneak in. I hope that was okay.
Yeah, of course.
And, but most of it, though, is great ideas. And is anybody in this room, and I know Mark's going to be my relay man, has anybody in this room ever heard a great idea, wrote it down even, and did not implement it? Raise your hand if you've ever not implemented a good idea.
I see 100% of either hands or
Yeah,
hearts
exactly.
raised.
That
I
means-
know, I
that
know the
means we have a
answer's
very-
true.
That means we have a very honest room. And that's because we end up getting back to our ways of doing things. We do what comes comfortable and we get into that lane. Now, I'm guessing your meeting ends in 10 minutes, so I'm going to make sure I give you some time to finish off. And I can get to my point pretty quick in here. Bold is going to help you. Bold is a do with process. Now, that means it's a coaching environment. Okay. It's a fully engulfed environment to put you in the right place to get you into production. Now, if you go look and read The One Thing, which I highly encourage you to read The One Thing. Quickly, hands up if you've read the book The One Thing. Raise your hand. What do you got?
I'd say 40% of the room.
That's very common. Okay. That means 60% of you need to read it. I read it. I would love to tell you I read it yearly. I'll be lying. I read it about every other year. About every 18 months, I'll read The One Thing. So that means I've read it probably 10 times, to be honest with you, maybe less, 8 to 10. The One Thing, though, has a part in there. It's kind of towards the back, page 170 something, I think. It's got the 4 productivity thieves. 4 productivity thieves is this. 1 is inability to say no. Number 2, poor health habits. Now, if you'll notice is that Mel Robbins and Tony Robbins, both of them talk about those 2 things. Inability to say no. If you say no to one thing, you're saying yes to another thing. When you're saying yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. Okay? Poor health habits. Big one right there. I'm going to talk about that one. Number 3 is fear of chaos. Most people, when they approach chaos, they back off. And then number 4 is the environment does not support your goals. What Bold is an environment to get you in the right mindset, support the right skills, get you into production, build the pipeline, build a database. I'm going to teach you every week, 9 to 2:30 for 7 weeks. We're going to be covering skills. We're going to be setting goals. We're going to have accountability, which means we're going to have a set of commitments we're going to do every week. And if you don't do them, you get a foul. Now, the difference is, I want to give you a story about this, and I want to get to the point here. It's a little presentation style. I get it. I know the environment. I want to get through what Bold is, because 60% of the room hasn't taken it. Actually, more than that. You said 1 in 5 have taken it, right, Mark?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why I felt a little obliged to go through a little bit of explanation of hearing that, of what Bold is. So you can get somebody who's taken it to explain to you as teams. We got the Bold laws right here. We're going to use those during Bold. Everybody's going to get a journal to write in their journals every day. But I want to tell you a story about somebody that I coach. One of the things when I coach people, I do coach agents. I coach mega agents. And it's really funny. I sell real estate. I got a team, Jones Real Estate Team. And I've been doing it for 21 years. It's really funny that y'all talked about people living. They say they're going to live in their house for 20 years and they don't. So I've been in real estate for 21 years. And I had a client that it's the longest distance between buy and sell that I've had in my career. I actually had somebody that I sold a house to 20 years ago that were listing their house for them next week. And it's so funny you said about that 20-year thing, because her name's Lisa. She's been a referral partner. I mean, she's like probably my top referral person over all the years. She probably literally gives me 5 referrals a year. Literally, I can put on my hand. I make about $50,000 a year just from her.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and you know what's funny is she didn't even argue about commission. She didn't even ask. She's like, okay, we're good. But 20 years in between. But I want to tell you about this database thing of keeping in touch. So I got a client I'm coaching. Her name's Michelle. I didn't change their name. I didn't change her name to protect the innocent. And I actually got my phone out for a reason, because I want to go to her text. So I'm gonna teach you a system in Bold called DTD2. This is just one small example of how you make money through coaching and accountability, pushing you. Michelle, DTD2 is where you call 2 letters of the alphabet that I'm going to teach you this during Bold. Do y'all talk about DTD2, Mark?
Yep.
Okay. So
more people know.
Okay. Some people, yeah. So Michelle, though, 4 weeks in a row, she hasn't called her DTD2s coming up. Now, she has something I'm going to teach you in Bold called call bias. Call bias is when you choose not to call somebody for some reason. The reason she wasn't calling is she didn't want to bother the ones she knew. Some of the people she didn't remember how she knew them. and the other one she hasn't talked to in a long time. Who in here has ever made a decision not to call your database because of a bias? Raise your hand. Yeah, Mark, thank you. We all have. And if you said no, you're a liar. I'm sorry, I didn't say that out loud. I was on the call, I was on the phone yesterday, and I said, Michelle, I said, we got bigger fish to fry. We got big goals in here. This is just a small thing. And she does a lot of transactions. Very similar price point to you, for the record, because I heard y'all talk about price points. I said, would you go on faith and trust me today? She goes, I guess I have no choice, do I? I said, no, not really. And I figured I'd ask anyways. I said, would you call those 55 people with no attachment to the outcome and trust me? We talked about what we would say. There was a conversation. It was easy. I said, would you call all 55? 55 came up yesterday. I said, then would you commit to calling them? She says, I'll call them. As soon as we hang up, I'll call them. I said, okay. And then you're going to text me after you've called all 55. She goes, yes. Here's the results. Everybody listen. She texts me at 3:30. We talked at about 11 a.m. So 3 hours later, something like that. She says, all of my DTD2 calls are made. I definitely saw the benefit of calling a lot. I had a lot of people answer more than I thought. I picked up one new buyer and are getting them pre-qualified now. I also talked, and then she said, I got a brand new buyer that I did sent to get pre-qualified that I would not have gotten if I didn't call. She says, I also talked to somebody who is going to be selling their home in 6 months that I also would not have gotten. They admitted they would have used somebody else that they didn't barely know. It took a while to make the calls. I did it. I pushed through. I did it. In 1 day of accountability, coaching, pushing out of our comfort zone, because left to her own means, we're going to go to the path of least resistance. And her path of least resistance was listening to her biases of not calling. That 1 day, she has an average commission of $10,000. You can relate. Your market is very similar. She made $20,000 by simply having somebody push her to do what she knows she needs to do, and wouldn't do. Now, here's the bigger question. If I listen carefully, this is the punchline. True story, by the way. I was reading it right from my phone. Michelle Pendergraft, she's out of Louisiana. 3 weeks, she did not make her calls. Y'all with me? If I say yes, if you're track with me, say yes.
Yep.
3 weeks, she did not make her calls. She lost $60,000 by not making her calls. I want to let that sink in for a second. It cost her $60,000 to stay comfortable. Who in here is willing to pay $60,000 just to stay comfortable? Are we willing to go fight harder to go make $60,000? Listen carefully, or keep somebody from taking $60,000 from us? What are we willing to work harder for? So the question is, can you afford not to be in bold? Because every week you're not doing what you, and you're going to make all kinds of stories of how what you're doing is fine. You're going to write all kinds of stories of how I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it. You know, I know how to work out. But when a coach stands over the top of me and says, you got more, you can do it, I get more out of it. When somebody has an environment that is conducive to productivity, you make more money. Now, we got 104 people that fit in bold. Your market center has allocated 15 seats. I got a feeling that we're going to fill those no problem. All I'm saying is, do you want to be in an environment that's going to help you make that money every week? Because it's costing you not to be in those environments. If you knew that you could spend $7.99 and you can make $30,000 by putting that in, that's just for 3 weeks of doing it. If you knew you'd make 30 grand by investing $7.99, who would do it? Raise your hand. Question is, are y'all on board? So I'll let you have it, Mark. I hope that was what you're. I know coming in after your. I like doing it after your housing report. I think that was helpful. I love listening to it. So I'm welcome. I'll open up the stage for any questions. Anybody have any questions for me?
I think in the interest of time, David, we're going to keep it moving, but I'm going to make time available for questions to field those.
I think I made my point.
You did. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you being here, David.
You bet. Thank you, Mark.
All right, just a couple quick things, and then Tywayne, you're on deck. So he hit the details. You got emails about this. It starts on Wednesday, April 3rd. And then week off, April 17th. It's up in Brecksville. First step is free. Steps 2 to 7 are $7.99. But couple things. If you sign up by noon tomorrow, so think about it over the course of the next day, we'll take your KW Tech fee off, a $50 little attaboy to get you moving if you're leaning in that direction. And we have a program where we reimburse you $100 through 4 transactions. So basically, we'll foot half the bill for you to participate. And so finances really shouldn't be the reason that any of you don't. If you're saying 800 is a lot in one go, could we split it out? Could we figure out an arrangement there? I know some of you are in that situation. Talk with me. We don't want the mechanics to be the reason that it doesn't work out. We'll drop this in the Facebook page. I know you've been getting info about it, but you do need to register for both. It's not just if you register for the full, it auto registers you for the first step. So you do need to register for both so that you get your spot. All right, just a couple more minutes. Tywayne, come on up. And Amanda's going to have interest sheets at the table that you guys can express interest. Talk with me, talk with Amanda as you have any questions.
Good afternoon, everyone. So Ty Maley, PHW. So this morning or afternoon, I'm just going to take a couple minutes to just highlight a couple things. We're aware we have unveiled a new warranty for 2024. So very excited about that. If you're not aware, please snag a brochure or get with me and we can go over some of those details. But that being mentioned, there are a couple of things that I did want to highlight today that are very impactful and beneficial to you guys with that. So for the first time, we were going outside of the house. When I say that, we're partnering with AIG, and that is third-party identity theft coverage. We're gonna be the only home warranty company in the nation that's doing that. So that kind of goes with Rich's point, with the title fraud. We're gonna offer up to $1 million title insurance, post-close with them. So that's gonna be triggered by a few mechanisms in the warranty, which in lieu of time, we can convene, and if you want to get with me, we'll be able to go over that. So it's just one of those ways that you're able to offer a benefit to anyone that you're dealing with that, even with investors, we're not going to limit those properties. So you can imagine that when you have one of those warranties that closes, that if you protect their investment and all their investment properties in them, you're going to have a client for life. And then we also are offering 24/7 credit monitoring. So with AIG, you can also imagine if you protect that investment on that side, they're really gonna, never use anyone else, I couldn't imagine. And then another thing that we're doing with that is we've actually increased your errors and emissions insurance. So you have a mechanism with one of our gold plans to actually increase your E&O up to 5K. So we'll actually cover that whole deductible. So in the past, it was only $3,750. So now if you have a gold plan, we're going to cover up to $5,000. So that's a huge benefit to you guys. So if you ever have that unfortunate incident where you're sued, that we will actually step in and cover that for you if there's a gold plan in place. And then another great benefit that we're offering is for your sellers, if there's a gold plan, we're actually going to offer up to $2,500 2 years post-sale legal coverage. So if they do a standard plan, they get $1,000. So if you have one of those gold plans that they provide for the buyer, we're actually going to give you $2,500. So it's just a nice thing that we're doing that no one else is really doing in the country, that just shows how we're partnering with you guys. And then as you see these scams increase, it's really unfortunate. It's just a nice thing that you're able to do that we're not seeing anyone else doing. And I could imagine for myself that, if my agent actually protected the title of my house for an investor, if an investor has a lot of properties, they're really not going to seek anyone else. They're not going to shop you. We aren't limiting those amount of properties that investors are able to cover. I actually asked my boss, and he said, we're covering a social security number. So, that's just a way that we're going outside of the house. And then all the other benefits. The 2024 coverage really hasn't changed that much. Get with me or get with the brochure. I'll be able to highlight that. And then I really would encourage you guys. So tomorrow at 1 o'clock, Tracy Brewer is going to be hosting training on Zoom for you guys. So if you can hop into that, it's going to be very beneficial. We'll be able to go a little bit deeper into the program, some of the things that we're offering and doing. And then after that, I can even also offer office hours or even one-on-ones for any questions you guys might have. So there's about 25 bullet points with AIG, and I get that it seems like it's something new and big and unfamiliar, but we have a flyer, a brochure with those 25 points. And just rest assured, it's not something you're gonna have to babysit. They're gonna be separately enrolled. AIG will handle that from the customer service standpoint, so it's not something that you're gonna have to worry about. It's just gonna be a benefit for you guys. And that you're able to offer just an added value to your client. So thanks, guys. I'll leave it with that. Please reach out to me. Please join the Zoom meeting tomorrow. I have the link if you don't have that. I believe it's being circulated. And then I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have. So thank you.
Appreciate you, Taiwan.
Thank you.
And America's Preferred is going to be one of our platinum sponsors for Bold. So grateful for your partnership there. Mercedes.
Okay, so I'm gonna make this quick since we're a little over time. If you're interested in setting up an Easter egg hunt, we ask that you come, you don't have to bring a table, just bring all of your decorations and giveaways or whatever you wanna bring. Around 8 or 8:30, then it starts at 10, just so we're prepared and we have enough time to put out eggs and things like that. But we hope to see you guys all there. It is the 23rd. And we have them separated into 3 different age groups this year. And they can register on Eventbrite. That way you have an idea of how many kids are in each bucket.
And we can drop that on the Facebook page again, just to keep that. It's a client event in a box for those of you who are wanting to find ways to be in touch with your people. All the info in the newsletter. Read your newsletter, 7 a.m. Sunday mornings.
Wanted to mention, since it's something the culture committee is doing, that we are planning for a euchre tournament to kind of have something fun in April 19th. Don't know the exact time of it. Around 6 or so. That's something that we can have in office here. It'd be something fun. So that, and we can do $100 to get prize for that. So it could be it can be a match card or just like a Visa gift card. We plan on having a prize for that, trying to get people in here.
I've already beaten Aaron at euchre, so he's a softie. All right. Thank you for staying overtime. Amanda, we got a soup off. All right. What do we need to know?
You need to try all the soups, vote for your favorite if they're numbered. As soon as you find the one, write it down, what it cost. The winner, it's the bragging rights, and maybe Antonio.
And if you vote for Antonio, your tax
And-
will go down.
And a gift card and a Cutco knife, right? Like, I almost made a soup for that. All right. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for hanging in, and yeah, enjoy.
Don't leave that. I want to see what you did. Where did we lose that at?
I think when I went,
Those are Canva. Where'd you pull it? Where's your presentation?
it's in here.
So the percent.
Yeah, I didn't click
You didn't
present again.
represent.
I did share up there, but I didn't go back into presentation mode.
The only thing we did is, I don't know how to make him big when you have control. Because for the Zoom people,
He was
he's big.
spotlighted.
He's spotlighted and him. So I don't know if we can click and drag him. Plus, let me spotlight somebody.
Okay. Hey, Nicole.
I have a question.
Yeah.
That blue.
Yeah.
Money is the issue for me currently. So what can I do? I mean.
So we could do it a couple of different ways. We could, how do you have your billing set up? Is it like auto draft with the office and with regard to the
I
office
think
fees?
it's auto.
The 72.
Yeah.
So what we could do is we could front it and then basically add $200 a month for the next 4 months. I was already there. So it's coming out that way.
Would she still qualify for 100 back for?
Yeah.
The 14 back? We're wondering that is.